This is Visions Under Construction, a chance for our guests to share their visions and tell us what they're working on. For their continued support, we would like to thank Simwood, straight-talking, forward-thinking telecoms. Simwood.com. Why not make CloudOnyx your communication partner? Go to cloudonyx.io. You can find everything about the VUC at vuc.me, thanks to Bluehost, and thanks also to zipdx.com, the conference bridge, and to voxphone.com for local rate dial-ins. All right, let's see if everything works. It looks like it did. I actually switched over the camera. There's an irritating thing with Chrome now in that when you're not on, if the app isn't focused, you can't see the mouse over it. So I think I deserve major accolades or accolades, either way. Anyway, speaking of people working on things, I'm concentrating about the Dan thing now. It's Dan Jenkins. Hey, round of applause. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Randy. Yes, hey. I'm not Dan Lane. I'm Dan Jenkins.
But Jenkins, I-J-K-L. All right, never mind. You're before L, so you're good. Anyway, we're all anxious to hear, and since Bodhi's not with us, we have to settle for you. But I think you probably know more anyway. Let's hear some highlights because last time you were on wasn't too long ago, but the schedule wasn't all filled in. And there's been a lot of more exciting stuff happening. So let's hear about it. And I will later share how I'm getting from Gatwick. But there is also information on the website about getting from Heathrow and getting it from Gatwick and getting from the station. So go ahead, Dan.
Cool. Yeah, so the event that Randy's talking about is CommCon. So that's running 25th to the 29th of June. So only a couple of weeks away. And yeah, we've now got our schedule up on the website and plans for people to be able to get there and without getting lost and without getting ripped off. So I guess a couple of highlights. So there's on the Monday night, there's welcome drinks. I'm really looking forward to Monday night because I get to speak a little bit and welcome everyone to what is the first time event that has been going on in my head for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that mean you're the evening entertainment on Monday night?
No. So yeah, on Monday night, everyone goes and has a drink, welcome drinks, and I say a few words. We go have a nice meal, and then there's evening entertainment. And I'm still not really going to tell people what the evening entertainment properly is yet. You have to come, and when you're outside of Wootton House, you'll go, oh, that's really cool. But I have talked about duck herding before, so there will be duck herding at some point. But I mean, highlights in terms of talks. I mean, the schedule is so jam-packed of amazing talent. So we've got all 4 VoIP projects. So that's Asterisk, FreeSwitch, OpenSips, and Kame EDO, all on the VoIP track. We've got the Homer team. So we've got an update on Homer. We've got some great combined talks in the afternoons. So sorry, one sec.
We interrupt this for a little lawn trimming outside.
How rude of people. Yeah, so we've got a couple of great talks that are combined across both tracks. So on the first day, we've got Varun from CoolStats. And so that's the VoIP track. Some of the awesome stuff in the VoIP track. And then on the Web RTC track, we've got key players in the market like Facebook, Slack, and Google, all there, as well as like all all of the main SFU authors. So we've got Meduse, we've got Janice, we've got Jitsi. So there's some amazing content on both tracks. And we've got some key kind of players within the community as well. So on like the last day, we've got Jared Smith. If people don't know who Jared is, he was kind of a big part of the Asterisk project for a very long time, and now he's at Sangoma. So he's doing a more general talk about open source development, which is pretty cool. And then on the Wednesday, we've got Dave Horton talking about a project called Dractio, which not many people have heard of. And then on the WebRTC track, we've got people from varying different backgrounds. So we've got Pranav and Avika. I'm terrible with names, and they did Seasons of Debian last year. So they were part of the Google what's the word, where they get shoved into a company and they get to learn some cool stuff. So they're talking about that whole story and what they can do, what they learned from that. And then there's the usual names. So James is there. James is going to be deploying a small cell site, 3 of them, and we'll be giving out SIM cards to every single attendee, using those 3 small cell sites. And then we've got Tim Panton. Tim's going to be doing something cool with like mini robots. And then there's so much good stuff. Matt Hodgson from Matrix is going to be there doing a workshop on Matrix. And then there's going to be VoIP panels and a VoIP panel hosted by Evan McGee, and a WebRTC panel hosted by Tim Panton. I mean, there's tons of good content. Alison Smith's going to be there. Alison's talking on the last day. She's talking about IVRs and doing them well and doing them badly. And it's jam-packed full of amazing content. I'm so happy with our speaking lineup. And then dotted around all of that good speaking content is evening entertainment, amazing food, an amazing location. It's kind of this one-stop shop for anything WebRTC or VoIP related. And if you're in Europe, it's like half the price of going to, say, Astracon or ClueCon. I mean, they're great conferences, and if you do an awful lot of free switch work, then it might make sense to go to ClueCon. But if you do a little bit of everything, or you're getting more into WebRTC, then this is kind of the best one-stop shop this side of the Atlantic.
I always have to mention, because I'm not in this business, but yet I know almost everybody who's doing anything, and many of them have been on the conference. But what's really important about this, Dan, and you put your finger on it, this is in the UK, so it's, in spite of the fact that you guys aren't on the monetary system, that's the only disadvantage. It's close. The flights are cheap from continental Europe and a lot of other places. People are coming from the United States, so here's a chance for Europeans who don't want to go to the US or the North American content to meet those people. These are major people from the projects you mentioned. I mean, Daniel himself is there from Camaillo.
Yeah.
So if you missed Berlin, you can talk to him. But anyway, getting back to what I could have said in 3 sentences, I just spent about 40. But what I'm saying is that when you go there, you're meeting these people. It isn't just watching presentation after presentation. And the choice in the 2 tracks are really hard, as always, in every conference. But the fact is, you have a chance to talk to these people. And at Camaillo World, for example, somebody who went who's not generally going to these conferences, and he went because he's coming from the UK, came over to Berlin, and he was able to talk to somebody he wanted to speak to. And let's face it, these days, a simple email to somebody won't necessarily get a response. So talking to people is where it's at. And
it's kind of, I kind of talk about it as like this massive informal networking event. You eat breakfast together, you eat lunch together, you eat dinner together. Then you've got evening entertainment. On the Tuesday night, we're going to a pub just a mile up the road. And that's hosted by Cloud Onyx. And we're all just going to be able to sit in an English pub, having a drink, having a conversation. What other conference can you say you can do that? At other conferences, people generally go off and have dinner together, or they go back to their hotel, whatever. And you can absolutely go back to your hotel room. But yeah, there's tons of amazing people there. Not just the speakers. There's tons of amazing attendees coming as well. And so there's this huge informal networking where you'll just be able to go and herd ducks with Evan. I mean, I'm really looking forward to herding ducks with Evan McGee. Wearing his little bow tie. I shouldn't say little bow tie, should I? Wearing his bow tie. He's going to be amazing with the duck herding. So I'm really looking forward to duck herding with Evan. But yeah, where else can you go and do those kind of things?
And by the way, everyone there is at that hotel. Am I right?
Yeah, everyone there is at the same hotel.
Because even in Berlin, we were at probably 4 or 5 different hotels. A lot of people there, you know. And when you're at the same hotel, for better or worse, you're going to see everybody coming in and out. But that's also a chance to talk to people. And like you say, if you can't make the drinks at the pub, or if you don't get a chance to talk to someone there, there's going to be a million opportunities to rub shoulders. Sorry about the terrible, that's a horrible expression now that I think about it. Anyway.
But absolutely. I mean, there's enough chances for people to go and have a conversation with another person. Or there's enough grounds, enough space, enough other rooms within the hotel that if you want to go and have 5-10 minutes by yourself, you don't have to go back to your hotel room. You can go sit outside. There's some amazing kind of rooms within the hotel that are very period and that are quiet. You can go and sit in one of them for 5-10 minutes or whatever. Go have a phone call with someone. Just get away from people, because I know an awful lot of people, including myself. When you're around people for a very long time, it can get a bit overwhelming. So there's tons of opportunity to meet people, but also tons of opportunity to go and do your own thing as well. And I think that's the neat thing about this setup.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that there's only one extremely irritating thing about CommCon, and that is that we weren't able to lure Corrado there. He shaved his beard, but he just won't come.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for coming in late, first of all. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever it is, when you're listening or watching this. That's the proof. I'm really busy in this period. I have acquired now another 4 customers just this week.
Stop buying up customers. Stop being so successful, Corrado.
No, that's my problem, because they're just fresh customers. They usually need a lot of nurturing and a lot of hand-holding in the first month. So going away for a week is a non-starter. It would be too stressful for me to be there, participate, listen, and mingle and everything else, with in the back of my mind the phone going off and customers needing help, and me going away in a quiet room and tapping on keys and desperately try to sort things out. It's not going to happen. I'm really sorry. I guess there's something later in the year here in the UK, probably September, October.
Not as far as I'm aware. Not in
Tad Hack, maybe a Tad Hack, or
maybe
that's down in London. Yes, I would really love to be able to put something up.
Why don't you rig something up for us in Scotland? That would be amazing.
Yes.
An old castle, you know.
Yeah. That is something that I'm probably.
We could call it DramCon.
Yeah, possibly. But yes, that's my conundrum now. It's I can't.
Well, I think what
I'm
you
really
need
sorry.
is an intern to completely destroy your business while you're gone.
Yeah,
I'm very good at doing that myself.
I need one of them myself. So Corrado's not going to be there, but someone else is going to be there. Andy's going to be there.
The man in red.
Yeah, I am. I am going to be there. Last week I wasn't. This week I am. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins, is all I can say to that.
You're most welcome.
I am very much looking forward to it, and I've got to be there to see exactly what Bodhi is doing behind the scenes as well. It's kind of important that somebody keeps some form of monitor on him.
Well, when was the last time that you went to an event, Andy?
It was Camellia World last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, so it's over a year since I've managed to do so.
So we're all going to be like, we're all looking forward to seeing you. It'll be nice.
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone, to be honest. I mean, perhaps some people more than others that I don't see very often.
Yeah, you don't want to see James.
No, I do want to see James. I always enjoy being with James. That's not really the point. There are other people as well. It'll be nice to see the Zoipa people. I wouldn't like to choose between Joachim and Mira, of course. But it's nice to be with them. You said Jitsi. Is Emil going to be there? I don't think he is he?
Emil's not going to be there. Boris Saul was going to be there, but rudely he's having a baby or something, or he's just had a baby. And I completely feel for him having a 2-month-old. So Boris is going to be there. I've never met Boris before, but I've spoken to him an awful lot on email over the past couple of months. I'm really looking forward to hearing him speak and hearing another voice from the Jitsi project. It's kind of nice to hear other people that we don't generally hear from. Emil and Saul are the people that we generally hear from. It will be kind of refreshing to have that other viewpoint.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And the only other person from the Jitsi project that I've met was at ClueCon a few years ago, and that was Ludo.
Right.
And he quite quiet compared to Emil, but an interesting guy nonetheless, very capable. It seems to be the case with an awful lot of these Bulgarians that they really know their stuff.
Right.
And that's always really good. And they live in an interesting country too. Talking about Bulgaria is quite interesting quite a lot of the time. And of course, there are people from all sorts of other places as well.
Does the team still? Some of the team still live there. Obviously, Emil and Jana don't. But
I don't know the answer to that. I believe they do. That there wasn't, I think, an initial requirement for them all to move over to Texas. But so they just became Atlassian employees.
Slightly off topic, but I'm very much hopeful that with all you guys reproducing yourselves at this rate, the world will be a much better place in about 30 years. What do you think?
I think it's too late for you and me, Randy.
Oh,
yeah. Let me get over the next year or two, and then I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I see. Dan never does things by half, so I believe he's actually got himself another dog as well.
Yeah, 2 cats, 2 dogs, a baby.
New house, new office.
New office, new house, expanding business. Yeah.
And a heart monitor.
By halves. And when I do something, it's done properly.
I'm sure that's the case. We're going to find out. And I too am looking forward to herding ducks. In fact, I was just looking up duck quackers on Amazon. I thought I might buy a load to bring along.
But yeah, I was just looking through the schedule again, and there's loads of people that I didn't mention, and they're all amazing. So we've got Eric and Nir from Cloud Onyx. Nir's going to do a workshop around the ARI, and Eric's going to do more of a case study type thing. We've got Mira and Zoa talking a blockchain, that magic word. We've got We've got Iñaki talking about his SFU. We've got Simon Woodhead from Simwood talking about how they're doing scaling and things within their VoIP infrastructure. Tons of good content. Joran from Sipgate talking about how to use Ansible, deploying your VoIP stuff using Ansible. It's just jam-packed. It's going to be, I'm so looking forward to it. And things have started turning up. I've got boxes everywhere. I've got stickers. I've got more stuff arriving next week. It's really kind of coming together. And I went to the venue last week. Yeah, last week to talk about food. So everyone's going to get an email next week so that they can pick their food options. Because obviously, like a hotel trying to organize 130 people's worth of food, it's easier if they know meal options and things beforehand. So next week, everyone's going to get to know the quality of the food and what kind of food, what kind of theme we're going with. Yeah, it's really exciting. Everything's kind of finally coming together after my 3 or 4 years of, we should really run an event in the UK. And we're finally doing it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, round of applause. Well done. And of course, all the financial risk is yours. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. So everyone, if you haven't bought a ticket yet, buy a ticket.
You see that lovely office Dan's got? He'd like to keep it.
Oh, saying that, I completely forgot. It's a Friday afternoon. Tickets are discounted to £1,400, down from £1,600. So that's £200 off until the end of Monday. Just because we felt like doing something nice for people. We've only got a limited number of remaining tickets left, and we kind of wanted to get them sold before the cutoff date, where things become really quite complicated. So we decided to remove some money, so you can get £200 off until the end of Monday. That's the end of Monday in America, and yeah, save £200, £1,400 for a conference and all of your hotel and all of your food, and the only thing you have to pay for is to get there and drinks while you're there. I think that's a bargain.
And if you take advantage of that offer before Monday, the VUC is going to refund every person that buys a ticket at that price from now until Monday with €1. So let me know. You just come up to me and say, "Where's my euro?" And I'll give it to you via check, which will cost you €1.20 to cash. Anyway, all kidding aside, it's getting late. We have 17 days. I counted them, believe it or not.
Yep. Yeah. I looked at my calendar the other day, and it was 19 days. So it was 2 or 3 days ago. and I was like, oh, wow. Only 19 days until this life-changing event happens. It's going to be really great. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
It will. Okay. With that, any other news that I'm looking at the clock here with my bifocals? Had a look up.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. You had Rob on last week talking about the 4 tickets that IP Cortex sponsored. You were one of the lucky ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I just want to reiterate, I'm so happy that we have companies like IP Cortex in this industry. They could have quite easily just kind of bought their own ticket, but they didn't. Rob emailed me and he was like, well, let's do something for people that aren't necessarily in a position for whatever reason. Like for you, you're not making money. This is a hobby. Like you do this every week and it's great. So it's amazing that there are companies out there that do support people like you and the other 3 people that successfully got a ticket. As Rob said last week, can't share those details without talking to those people, and I haven't had time to talk to those people.
That's fine. I mentioned, so Rob is going to be there, right?
Yeah, Rob is going to be there.
In fact, presumably all the I know Simon's going to be there.
Simon's going to be there. Fraser from Timwood is going to be there too. Varun and Benoit and someone else from CallStats are going to be there. One of my subcontractors called Mihai is going to be there. We've got Perry from Toulouse, and a couple of other people from Toulouse. They make
Perry is the fellow who's involved with the SIP thing, right? I met him before. He's a terrific guy.
Yeah, and then we've got the Nexmo/Vonage team. So we've got a talk from them, as well as I think 2 other people attending. They're the 5 main sponsors. Well, 6 main sponsors, because we've got Google as well.
Who's going to be from Google, and what are they talking about? I think you are.
I'm terrible with names. Who?
You know what team?
Someone from Google. I can't pronounce people's names. Is going to be there from the Google Chrome WebRTC team.
Oh, okay.
And that he's going to be talking about how I think he's going to be talking about how they're making WebRTC more enterprisey, and how they're enabling that, as well as a general WebRTC type update. I think.
God, this is going to be dangerous, but his name, if I can pronounce it correctly, is Huib Kleinhout.
That's the one.
Well, we can do our initial maiden voyage for the podcast that we've entitled "What the Shit That Chrome Broke This Week." So we'll try that.
It doesn't break very often anymore, I must admit. So it's all coming together. And hopefully soon I'll be able to sleep again.
Well, it is a true community, and some of the sponsors that are with you are our sponsors: Cloudonics, Simwood, and a long time, association. I first met here at an AstraCon. It's a perfect example. You meet these people, then you want to see them every year, which gets costly, but there it is. You have to follow up. NEAR has changed their not business model necessarily, but NEAR and Eric have been together for a long time, and they have changed their different enterprises from time to time. But everything
they pivot. Yeah, they pivot when they need to, or feel that there's a gain to pivot.
Right.
They're brilliant business people, as well as being brilliant technical people, and I guess that's why they're so popular within the community.
Right, but I mean, NEAR's talk on security. He was showing people Shodan, for example. He did a demo. I think it was also at AstraCon. That was just incredible. He blew people away by showing how easy it is to hack into IoT related and mostly security cameras. Notorious, right? Hey Dan, since you pretty much said it, we can pivot too onto something that's with regard to IoT security and all that, because you're into that, and that would be the big botnet, where the FBI is asking people to reboot their routers, and there's we've touched on that subject last week. Do you know anything about that?
Nothing more than that, really. What was it? Someone had infiltrated a ton of routers, and put a backdoor into things, and
but it's amazing because
wasn't it loads of ISPs were now having to actually go and block ports and things to be able to stop it at a network level?
I think I received an advisory yesterday where they discovered that the brands and models of routers that are affected by that problem has quadrupled in size. and it's probably affecting a lot of other devices, unbranded devices that are ISP, proprietary ISP, things that are BT Home Hub that is in fact rebranded other device. The problem is sometimes the only way out is to not only reboot the router, but force it to do a factory reset.
Right.
And you're losing all your settings, so you're also losing your PPP or PPPoE authentication, so you're not going back online. And you need assistance to get back online, because the hack is practically theoretically is done through the TR-069 remote maintenance and remote configuration protocol, spoofing the IP address of the sender, so is recognized as a valid IP, and it's changing some settings inside and creating scripts inside the router,
Right.
if the router accepts them, and they are written in a section of the router that is static, remains after a reboot.
Yeah, what remains after the reboot is the call to the server. That's why the FBI wanted people to reboot their routers, by the way. We say routers. Because it isn't that they thought it would fix it. It's that they took over the server or servers that these things, whatever the master servers that were actually sending the code back, so that they were able to identify the various routers. But what's, it's as impressive as the people we were talking about, like Nir and Eric, who I'm sure had nothing to do with this. But, the Russian group who did this, I mean, that's really, really impressive if you think about it. They were able to write this code, which then bootstraps, as soon as the firmware reboots, it's able to call a server and get these scripts that you mentioned. And that stuff all happens regardless. So yes, you have to either update firmware if there's one available, or downgrade. And as somebody pointed out recently, you can't just reload the official firmware, because a lot of times the consumer routers will say, yeah, well, you already have that version. So that's a funny thing. So you can either go back to the previous version or get a new version if there is one. Otherwise, the factory reset theoretically will rewrite that version, as you said, Corrado. But I mean,
and some routers do not allow you to downgrade the firmware, so you have no way out. It becomes sometimes not even expensive door stopper, and you need to buy a new one. But the list, I cannot retrieve that. I read that yesterday evening on my phone. I cannot retrieve that list, but it was quite discouraging, because there were probably about 12 manufacturers with about just from D-Link, if I remember correctly, there are about 13, 14 devices.
Let's see if I can share this with you. I'll get it up. Which window is this? Is this it? Yeah. All right. So ASUS, D-Link, there's 6 ASUS, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 or 8 D-Link devices. Huawei, Linksys, MikroTik.
Yeah.
Not familiar with them, but they have the biggest list. Netgear. Wow, look at this. QNAP, TP-Link devices, Ubiquity.
Yes.
Oh.
What I'm quite interested in to know is, there was a trend a couple of years back where some of these manufacturers started to offer devices that were preloaded with DDWRT. And so what I'm curious to know is whether there's a correlation between some of those devices on that list and the fact that they are leaning on this open source project for the firmware for the devices, because DDWRT is impacted. And normally they would not be, but they may have themselves sort of become a new, not threat vector, but a new target for people deploying threat vectors.
I thought I was showing that list. Maybe did I show it or not?
Yeah, you had the list up there, because some of those are specifically, I think, devices that do use DDWRT. I know Buffalo Networks had a bunch of DDWRT based networks. So did Netgear. They called them open routers. And leaning on the open source software allowed them to offload some of their development effort. So it allowed them to spin their router hardware faster.
Yeah, what scares me is I have a box from Orange, and I don't know what's in it, and I'm not in bridge mode because I didn't feel like getting my own router. Probably, I don't know whether that's good or bad now today.
Well, just look at the back and see who's manufactured it.
That's a good point, except that I'd probably rip out the fiber connection.
Aha.
But hopefully somebody's on the case. They're one of the big operators.
I am still a big fan of running your own router and where possible running things like pfSense.
Word. Yep. Curiously, pfSense doesn't look to be affected.
Why curious?
BSD, baby, BSD.
Yes. The curiously was, leading, intended. It's because the operating system underneath is secure by design. That's all.
Yeah. To be fair, that commitment, the idea that friends don't let friends use consumer routers or family, means that I do spend a fair number of hours every year helping friends and family with their network issues.
This is totally the problem with anything we do today. Phones, all of the high-tech stuff is that, just to quote Albert King, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. So, everybody wants privacy and safety, but nobody wants to know. Even I don't really want to know about how most of this stuff works. So my defense is I don't have any home assistance or any of that junk in this house. I turn the lights off with a regular switch, which is covered by the
Sorry, you tried to venture into that.
Yeah, I have one horrible. I'm just waiting for my doorbell to be attacked. That is funny though. Boy, that's.
But you had the Tribby.
Well, it's sitting there discharged with an LCD screen telling me to charge it for the last 6 months. That Ring 2 is the biggest piece of crap I have ever spent $230 on. I can never regret more something that I've purchased, and it's still on. And it's still
from whence a unicorn was born.
Yeah, that's.
Anyway,
$1 billion, Dan,
I
think you have one of those things too, and like it, right? Because you're the other side. You're happy with that, right?
Oh, I've got loads of like Google Homes, and I do a load of home automation type stuff.
No, the Ring door. You have a Ring doorbell, don't you?
No, I don't have a doorbell.
Oh, I thought you.
Because I've been holding out for the Nest Hello, which has only just been released in the UK. But apparently there's still some issues where it lags, like takes a little bit of time to actually connect.
Oh, gee.
So a bit like the Ring. So plus,
don't do it, man. Just don't do it.
It's a load of money, and I mean the really nice thing is it then rings on all my homes and says someone's at the door, which is quite nice for an office that isn't in the house.
And by the time you answer, they're gone, though.
Yes, I do have to run. I literally, at the moment, I have to run through my house, and people generally just walking away. Because.
But that's why a SIP-based intercom doesn't have to be video. A SIP-based intercom is vastly superior. If you have any experience at all with telecom, all of these consumer video camera things are disappointing because of the call setup lag.
Well, yeah. It shouldn't take that long. That's the thing, isn't it? Really.
Excepting that it does, because all of these IoT folks, they can't spell SIP. They don't come from that background. They don't have these expectations, and that's why we find them disappointing.
Right.
So my advice to you is talk to the folks at Algo, because you can have the camera, right? But treat the stream separately. Dial up the camera once you're already talking to the person at the gate and they're not running away.
Yes, I should really sort something out. I don't know. We'll see whether or not If the Nest one comes down in price, then I might just buy that, because convenience is really nice. Apps that kind of just work are really nice, and things that already integrate into what I've already got are really nice. But not at the price that it currently is. So wait for a Black Friday sale or something.
Sooner or later, it'll happen, I'm sure.
What sort of prices are we talking about? I've not looked at these things.
Oh, the Nest Hello is like 250 quid.
That is quite a lot for a doorbell, isn't it?
Yes, I'm just double checking that I am telling you the right figure. Yeah,
The algo
without professional installation is £230.
And by the way, does that require power, or is it?
Yes, it absolutely does require power, which is another problem for me because I don't have a conventional doorbell.
So it needs to be.
I've only got
not a huge deal, but it does need a wire.
So it does need a wire to power it. So I'd have to sort that out too. So yeah, there's loads of reasons why I'm not spending £230 right now.
and here's the interesting thing about all these things that kind of bugs me. You have to power them, and they're designed to operate over your existing, pair of wires if you have them, and yet they all require Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi is not your friend. So it's one of these things where there's just so many compromises where, run a link to Cat5 out to that place. It powers the thing. You get video over it if you need video. You get audio over it if you need audio. It's just these algo guys, they're perfect. And they're $100 cheaper on their PoE one that wasn't available when I got mine.
The Ring Pro or something is PoE. One of the Ring ones, one of the professional Ring ones is definitely PoE, which is nice. But yeah, they're consumer, so consumers don't know what PoE is.
Yeah, well, and when I talked to the CEO of Ring when he was in his Christie Street, just doing their first phase of funding and initial products, and he came from a telecom background. His first company was bought by Nuance, and it was a speech to text product, and he knew better. But the team that he assembled for his startup were determined they were going to avoid a lot of headaches and SIP and things like that. Because I suggested SIP interop for the first generation of their product, and they were like, maybe down the road. But then they just struggled with cloud infrastructure. They struggled with lots of things. So, but hey, $1 billion company.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're forced to have wires, a video, we moved into a new house in October, and it had a really outdated, horrible, so bad, this video doorbell, a video intercom, but the screen was messed up and it just was end of life. But if I had it to do over again, I would have replaced that, because those things are around 100 euros or 100. Really fancy one be 120. We don't want to have the door opened by this. So that's a little bit more sophisticated. So if just to have a conversation with somebody via video, it's 100 times better to have a wired video intercom. If you really want video. Disadvantage, of course, it's not on your phone. Well, boo-hoo, Why have everything in the world on your phone? Your phone is everywhere, true. I would like to see the day when you're not home, somebody rings your doorbell and you can answer before they run away. Because basically, that's not going to happen, in my opinion. There's just too much latency possible, even with a good connection.
It's probably the logic. I've seen some of the things you can do with IFTTT, if this then that, and the time it takes for that from the input to the output is gobsmacking, is really too slow.
Well, but if it's like that, and if you pay attention to their terms of service, they don't claim to be a real-time process. There's a trigger, and then there's this, bucket brigade kind of whatever, but they may not get around to acting upon a trigger for 15 minutes.
Oh, it's a little like SMS, isn't it?
I think SMS is more deterministic.
Well, there's no guarantee. And I mean, my wife tells me sometimes her supervisor will send a message and she'll get it like 25 minutes after he sent it.
Which is quite within the specifications of
Yeah.
SMS.
Well, okay.
It's not a real-time service and never has been.
No, I know.
No. In fact, it was using a side channel. Andy, you know better than me, but it was invented by someone that knew that, okay, let's use this side channel that nobody's using just to send a few things between us internally, the telecoms operator.
Do you think the people who put that in place ever anticipated the absolutely mind-blowing, enormous success of texting?
No.
Oh, huh?
No, and if you go back, say, 10 years or so, when you only had 2G mobiles around and SMSs were a relatively new thing and hardly anybody used them. If, for instance, you sent an SMS on New Year's Eve, it might arrive sometime during New Year's Day.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, and it was like you tried to make a call and you couldn't.
Yeah.
Just because everything was completely bunged up, because everybody who had a phone, and there weren't that many at the time,
Right.
was trying to do the same thing because they.
Why did we, like 10 years ago? Why did we feel the need to send a text message to everyone going "Happy New Year"? I don't do it anymore. Like
people still do that here.
I don't get it. I look back and go, why on earth did I send a message to like everyone I knew going "Happy New Year"?
Yeah, a group SMS.
All
your list.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like you wouldn't do it today. You might send a couple of WhatsApps to someone or Signal, depending on your viewpoint on security. But yeah, it's thinking back 10 years. It's mad.
You know, it occurs to me, speaking of security, Dan, we didn't mention that there is a wire channel devoted to CommCon. And if people are on wire, first of all, if you're not, you should be. But if you are and you're coming, ping somebody, ping Dan at, is it CommCon UK on Twitter?
UK, yeah, on Twitter.
Or me, or us on VUC 2018, or anybody who's going. If you're going, please get into that channel if you're there, because some of the logistics happen there as well.
Oh, yeah, we never talked about getting there from Gatwick,
right,
and Heathrow. So I guess just very quickly, yeah, you can go on the website now, commcon.xyz, and there's a whole section telling you how to get from Heathrow or from Gatwick, or if you're getting a train from London. And hot tip, if you're flying into Heathrow or Gatwick, and you don't mind driving in the UK, you can hire a car for a whole week for about £30 total. And I mean, that is half of a taxi journey from Gatwick. Like it's 2 taxi journeys to and from Gatwick is £60. So it's half of that. And then getting from Heathrow one way is about £50. So if you can get a hire car for about 30, bargain, absolute bargain.
Yeah, that's amazingly cheap. James Modi has joined us, but before we say anything about that, I just want to mention, so I bought a ticket from Gatwick, the rail ticket to the nearest station, which I forget the name of, but it ends with Deep Dean.
Yeah, Dorking, Deep Dean. Yeah.
So that was under £8, just so you know, and it takes about 25 minutes if you choose the nonstop, which would be a good idea, because if you have a tendency of sleeping on trains, like I do, you'd probably forget to change trains. So take the nonstop, £8, sorry, very good deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really easy to get from Gatwick to Dorking. And then it's like it's a 5-minute, taxi journey from the train station to the venue. Heathrow's a bit more of a pain, but Heathrow is a very good interconnect. So I expect quite a few people will be flying into Heathrow.
So speaking of Dorking, James,
what sort of link is that?
Dorking, Deep Dean.
Dear, oh dear. Well, it's good to be with you. I just got back from picking up a son from Guildford, from University of Surrey, where he has now completed his first year in engineering.
So Guildford being the next town along from Dorking.
It is, yes, not a million miles.
Yeah, literally 10-minute drive.
Hmm. And and if you didn't know, the University of Surrey is home to the UK's leading 5G innovation centre, all 76 million quid's worth of it.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I do know that Avaya have a big office in Guildford.
Avaya, who are they?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a blast from the past. Does
really,
anybody still use Avaya gear?
lots of people still use Avaya gear, which is very sad. Not that I'm bitter that they decided not to come to CommCon at all. Well, I should be hardly surprised.
But why would they?
I know exactly. I extended an invite because I thought, oh, they might. It's just down the road and it would be good for them. But no,
the Avaya business model.
They didn't see the benefit in coming. So
their business model is a very viable business model, which is milking as much of the maintenance and support money as they possibly can until they run out of people using Avaya kit. But
it's completely and utterly opposite. Sorry. It's completely and utterly opposite from what
your nest.
From what we.
There's somebody tolling a bell in there, isn't it?
It will shush in a second. Oh, there you go.
It's time for not matins. What's the evening equivalent of matins?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They're calling the faithful to prayer anyway in the monastery.
All right.
Evensong,
yeah.
Yeah.
Matins would be the morning.
So, guess who I had quite a long chat with today on the way up to Guildford?
Dan Lane?
No, it wasn't Dan Lane. We have to get Dan Lane in, so if only for the amusement factor.
Yeah.
And get him to bring his jetpack with him.
So, who did you speak to, James?
Carsten Bock.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Mr. Volta, or
Yes.
Volta. And I think he's applying for wifely permission. Oh, I've got a cup of tea. How wonderful. My reward. Okay.
Could we have her in on the conference, James?
No, not.
Was that
Call her
your
to say
son
hello.
saying thank you for driving him home?
No, that's my dear darling wife, who is pleased to have me back in one piece. Lots of traffic on the road today, and on the way back here to the indomitable Chalk Valley.
So, so Carsten might be at CommCon.
He may be, yeah. The issue, I think that the thing that was stopping him from attending is holiday.
Ah, yes.
But I suggested that he might like to have a little bit of holiday in UK.
Well, there's a other halves ticket.
There is indeed. That's what I was aiming to segue into.
It only costs £350, which just covers people's the other half's food and evening activities. So there's no profit being made on other halves at all. Well, there's no profit being made at all anyway. It's all run by the community for the community. There is no. This isn't a money-making scheme from Nimble Ape. So yeah. Other half ticket.
So the answer is bring the other half, and they'll be very, very happy because it really is quite a palatial place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely, and you could easily go up to London in just under an hour, I think it is.
Yes.
Very, very easily for the other halves to.
So let's see whether we get Carsten across. And joking aside, we really ought to focus on getting Dan Lane there, because after all, he is Iron Dan.
Well, it depends whether you want the bar drunk dry or not, really.
I was there last week, and I asked them, so what Irish whiskies do you have behind the bar? And they went and got their menu for me. If you don't know, I like Irish whiskey. And
what's the name of your son?
Jameson, not named after an Irish whiskey. But
so it's just an accident. Your son.
It was a happy coincidence.
So your second born is going to be called Bushmills or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. If we do the second one at the moment, that is trouble.
Have a bush baby. No, don't worry. You'll get over it.
So
you get through the.
I asked the hotel about what Irish whiskies they had, and they were like, "Here you go." And I was like, "No, that's Scotch, American bourbon, and Scotch. Oh, there's one Irish whiskey, Jameson's." So I've requested that they stock their bar with some good Irish whiskey.
Yeah, Bushmills Black Label, very peaty. We like that.
Bushmills Black, Tullamore Dew.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see.
Any support from Sipsmith, James, for this event?
Well, Dan.
No, I
talk to them, but it's one of those scenarios where I think, Dan, you just ask the wrong question from the wrong person. It's getting a bit late now.
Yeah.
But I found the email, all the details, contact details of the right person. And if you weren't aware, Sipsmith were bought by what's the name of the big American distillery, the one that makes American bourbon?
Anheuser-Busch. Oh, yeah. Distillery. No, it wasn't.
Jack Daniels?
Jim Beam.
Okay.
So yeah, well, it's the big group that own Jim Beam anyway. So when that happens, normally a lot of personalities change over. But I was very pleased and relieved to see that the Minister for Fun at Sipsmith is still there. So, and he's the person to talk to. If you talk to anybody else, you'll just get the answer no.
Actually, that's what happened. So.
Actually, Jim Beam is owned by Suntory Holdings, a Japanese company.
That's what it is. The inscrutable, lovely Japanese people.
13.62 billion. What do they think? Their web RTC platform or something? $16 billion.
Which reminds me, we were. I think it was this morning. Was it this morning? We were playing with the pronunciation engine on the net, listening to pronunciation of interesting words like Camailio and Microtik. Are you familiar with Microtik routers?
It could be like Macrotic.
Well, strangely enough, yes. And all of them are kind of vaguely Microtik-ish, apart from the Welsh pronunciation, which is Microtic. And then they've got a Japanese one, which is...
It looks like Macrotic when it's written, though, right?
But
all right, I think we've degenerated sufficiently in this hour, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, and I need to disappear.
Thank you, Dan, for staying so long.
Thank you for having me. And I will see you all in 17 days.
You will.
Well, except for Friday.
All righty. Take care.
Did you mention the fact we've ordered the SIM cards?
I mentioned SIM cards earlier.
Yeah, they've gone off and been acknowledged, so they're in the system. So hopefully in about a week they will beam down here in UK.
Hopefully, yes, in a week's time, because we are 17 days away, so we can't.
17 days, that's like an age.
Yes. 17. Thank you very much.
Take care, Dan. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So, any old business besides me?
We're all old.
And James.
Come on.
Oh, look. Corrado's beginning to get hairy again.
Oh. No, it's I hadn't had the time to shave for a couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, that's no excuse.
This is the only day that I actually shave with a razor, Friday morning, for you guys.
Especially for the VUC.
Yeah, especially for the VUC.
Wow, privilege.
Andy Smith, we haven't seen you for probably 40 seconds. Welcome.
I suddenly roamed onto a site which started downloading multiple files, and so I just crashed Chrome.
Yeah, that Mia Khalifa is kind of a looker, isn't she?
Who?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, did Andy give you the news that Andy is now going to
CommCon?
But why, Corrado? Why are you not going to CommCon?
Oh, he already answered all that. We're going to stop the broadcast now. We can stay on ZipDX unless anybody doesn't want us to, but we'll be talking amongst ourselves. So thanks, everybody. Take care. Next week, hold on. I think I want to give you a little preview, very quick preview of next week. Okay, are you ready? Is everybody ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, here it is. This is next week's preview of next week's VUC. Turn let's get the sound on.
Is it exciting so far?
Not a lot happening next week then.
That's not my hand.
Now you're probably asking yourself, why is Mr. Weiner tied to this chair? Why isn't an expert such as he hosting this video instead of an